Welcome to Zero Distortion. Here's an exciting episode. Tax law. Sounds boring, right? Yeah, it is. But it's also one of the most important things affecting your paycheck, your future, and how this country runs. And with the Trump tax cuts back in the news, we're doing a two-part dive into what it all really means for you. So today, we're focusing on the 2017 tax cuts, what was promised versus what was actually delivered. In our next episode, we'll cover the 2025 proposed tax cuts passed through the House, what's being called the Big Beautiful Bill, and what that version looks like and what it means for you. And that depends, of course, on what the Senate does with it, so nothing is set. But before we jump in, make sure to follow or subscribe to Zero Distortion wherever you're listening. If you appreciate straight talk without the spin, this show is for you. So let's start with what was promised way back in 2017 when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was signed into law. Number one, a $4,000 increase in wages for the average household. Number two, huge growth in jobs and business investment. Number three, a middle-class tax cut. This was not going to be a giveaway to the rich, is what we were told. And number four, no major impact on the federal deficit. Why? Because it was going to pay for itself through the economic growth from these tax cuts, or that's what they said. So these all sound great, right? Yeah, but what actually happened? So let's go back to these promises. Let's break them down one by one. All right, so promise number one, wages would go up $4,000 per year per household. Well, who wouldn't be on board with that? A $4,000 raise just for being a working American. I mean, that's real money. That could mean finally catching up on bills, saving a little more, or just breathing easier each month. Sign me up. The reality? Wages didn't move much. I mean, for most Americans, any increase was marginal and inflation quickly wiped it out. The promised $4,000 boost never materialized for the average worker. Instead, most of their paychecks look about the same or even get smaller in real terms whenever you factor in healthcare, housing, daily expenses that continue to rise. So promise number two, businesses would invest more and create more jobs. I mean, this sounds like a win-win, right? Companies get some relief, and in return, they're supposed to reinvest that into growing the economy, building factories, and hiring people like you and me. That's exactly how it should work. The reality, the majority of the corporate tax savings went towards stock buybacks, dividend payments, and executive compensation, not towards hiring or raising wages. Job growth, it remained steady, but it was not exceptional. And business investment saw only a temporary bump. There was no long-term surge in economic activity linked directly to the tax cuts. All right, so promise number three, this was a middle-class tax cut. That line, a tax cut for the middle class, that's what grabs you. It's what most Americans want to hear. Finally, something for the people who work hard, who pay their taxes, and don't get special treatment. If that were really true, absolutely, I'd be all in. But the reality, the biggest winners by far were the top 1%. For many middle-class families, the cuts were modest. So let's break down what modest means. If you're earning under $25,000, that tax cut amounted to about $60 per year. If you were earning between $50,000 and $90,000, you saw about $930 in savings. That top 1%, those that are earning over $500,000, that tax cut was about $61,000. And if you're in that $2.5 million and above, that was closer to $190,000 per year that you saw. So yes, technically everyone got a tax cut, but for most people, it was pocket change while the wealthy walked away with the jackpot. That brings us to promise number four. It would pay for itself. Now this is the sweetener, right? Lower taxes, no increase to the debt. If that's real, it's like having your cake and eating it too. You hear something like that and yeah, it's hard not to get behind it. The reality, the tax law added roughly $1.9 trillion to the national debt and counting. Growth did not make up for the lost revenue. And now that burden falls back on taxpayers, on us, in the form of higher interest payments and potential cuts to key public services. So, in summary, none of these promises really held up. Wages didn't rise like they said. Business investment didn't surge. This wasn't a tax cut for the middle class. It was a tax cut for the richest Americans. And it definitely didn't pay for itself. When you step back, the results just didn't match the pitch. And don't just take my word for it. Think back to what was promised and ask yourself, did your paycheck actually go up by $4,000 a year? Did your job feel more secure, or did your company start investing in you? Did your tax savings even feel real to you? If the answer is no, you're not alone. The reality is that the 2017 tax law delivered massive tax cuts to corporations, big gains for the ultra wealthy, and just a little relief at best for most Americans. And now, with a new round of lofty promises being made about the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, it's worth asking, do you really believe it'll be different this time? So on the next Zero Distortion, we're going to break down what this new round of tax cuts is really about, what's actually being proposed, who it's designed to benefit, and what it could mean for the rest of us. We're also going to look at the trade-offs, including the $4 trillion price tag and the cuts to programs that could come with it, all while it's being sold as a win for working Americans. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and stay curious.